In the words of Taylor Swift circa 2019, we need to calm down. Hi, I'm Court. This is Reading with Court, and I'm going to be doing the mid-year calm down tag in this video. For those of you who don't know, this tag is created by Leandra over at Leandra the TBR Zero, and it's a bit of a lower key version of the freak out tag, and it felt more my speed than the other one. So this is what we're doing, and I hope you enjoy. So the first prompt is thankfulness. What has 2025 given me thus far? And my answer for this is community. I obviously am new to BookTube. I've only been here a couple months, but even before starting to make my own videos, I have built so many friendships in this community through connecting with others in Patreon groups and readathon discords and everything in between. And I can honestly say I would not be where I am right now if it were not for the community that has come into my life this year. It has been an absolutely amazing experience, and I hope to continue building these friendships and getting even closer with these people that I consider my genuine friends as the year goes on. Those of you who are watching this, you know who you are, and I'm very grateful and appreciative of you. The next prompt is relaxation or your most relaxing book. Now, this feels like a cop-out because it's no stakes cozy, but my answer is Legends and Lattes. I read this in a month. No, not like period of time. I'm trying to remember when I read it. I read this in May during Escape the Readathon, and I just kind of vibed the entire time. I wasn't like panicking or freaking out or any of that chaos. This was just a good time to read, relax, enjoy. And I didn't think I liked cozy fantasy until I read this. And I still have the second one sitting on my shelf behind me. It's right there. And I need to read it this year because the new one comes out in November, and it would be great to have them all together. But yes, the most relaxing book that I read this year was absolutely Legends and Lattes. The next prompt is a book that I needed. Now, if you are not good with triggering content, skip ahead a couple minutes. I'm going to forget to put a timestamp, but just skip through this next section. The book that I needed was The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. Now, people who know me know that this world is my comfort series. I have all 3 special editions pre-ordered. I'm currently planning a BookTube project involving this series, and I was late to the party on reading the new ones. I read all 3 in April, but I was going through some really tough stuff personally. My mother passed away on April 4th, and I was reading this at the time. And in a time where I could have gone to a really dark place and gotten into a really bad mental health situation, I was able to hold it together and keep myself afloat with this book, the characters in this book, and then subsequently the sequels, which are right here, The Dixon Rule and The Charlie Method. This trilogy got me through a really tough time and will now forever have a very special place in my heart because I would not be where I am if I hadn't read this when I read it. Next, on a much lighter note, we have Nourishment, or A Book That Energized Me. I have 2, and they kind of go together. So my choices for this are Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli and Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. I read both books in this duology this year. I read Heartless Hunter in April, May, one of the 2. It was either April or May. And I read Rebel Witch last weekend. As of the day I'm filming this, it won't be last weekend when you see this. I read it on July 12th, 13th, one of the 2. But this duology had me like screaming, kicking my feet, devouring the books, waiting for more. And I had the absolute best time. They both kind of rejuvenated my reading life in a way that I didn't expect them to. And these are books that I will be keeping, rereading, and continuing to scream about and explore and push to all my friends who haven't read it yet. So this is your moment. If you haven't read these, pick them up and read them. You won't regret it. Unless you don't like fantasy, then don't. But I had a good time. Next is familiarity, or an author I've returned to. So I have split this into two different sections. I have authors that I have returned to from my past, and authors that are new to me this year, but I keep going back to within 2025. So my past authors that I've returned to this year are Suzanne Collins, because I reread Hunger Games, and then I read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, as well as Sunrise on the Reaping. And I had a great time doing all of that. I love that world so much. Anytime she wants to write in that world, I will happily engage with it. And if she wants to give arcs out, I will happily take those too. But we're not expecting it. We would just appreciate it. The other author that I returned to this year was Sarah J. Maas. I have read the entirety of A Court of Thorns and Roses before this year. And this year I read the first book in Crescent City, the first two books in Throne of Glass, and the Throne of Glass novellas. I am also currently working on reading Heir of Fire, which is over there. It's right there. So that is another author I have returned to. And the last author that I've returned to from my past is obviously Elle Kennedy. I read The Dare, The Graham Effect, The Dixon Rule, and The Charlie Method this year. And I also began exploring her backlist with a book that she came out with long before the Briar World was even a thought in her head. And I had a good time with that one too. Even if it wasn't as like top tier as the other books that I have explored from her, I still had a good time. And it was a very, very smutty time. But as for authors that are new to me in 2025 that I keep coming back to, the first is Lila Sage. So I read Done and Dusted in March, and I had a really good time. I was living in my feelings, just enjoying that entry into cowboy romance. And then in June I read Swift and Saddled. And then in June I read Lost and Lassoed. And then in June I started Wild and Wrangled and finished it in July. So her books are obviously ones that I devour quickly. I love them. I love her writing style. I love her characterizations. She is someone who is quickly becoming an auto-buy author for me. Like, I need to finish buying the rest of her books because I only own Wild and Wrangled because I didn't want to wait in a library line. But I would like to own the rest of that series as well as anything else she comes out with. The other author that is new to me this year that I keep coming back to is Ali Hazelwood. I have read 6 books by her this year so far and am currently reading my 7th. I would like to complete her backlist this year, and at the rate I'm reading, I think that's entirely doable. But this year I have read The Love Hypothesis. I've read all 3 of her shorter novellas in the Loathe to Love You collection. So Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero. I have read Deep End, and I've read Two Can Play, her audiobook exclusive. And I'm currently reading Bride. So I've gone through a whole world of Ali, and I'm loving it. She's also, just like Lila, someone that I would like to own pretty much all of the books. She's an auto-buy author. She's great, and I'm enjoying what she's doing. The next question is about Healthy Risk, which is a book that is outside of your comfort zone or a new-to-me author. And I, for this, chose When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. So I have been intrigued by Nat Cassidy in my time on BookTube because a lot of people talk about him and his books and their horror, which is new to me in general. My brain genuinely didn't process that horror books were a thing until I started talking to Lexi. And then my eyes got opened so quickly because I guess it's more, blind spot and ignorance, really. Because in my brain, I'm like, yeah, the thrillers are the horrors. I lumped them together so heavily that I didn't process that these were 2 different genres. And now I have learned about horror in books, and this book was my open the door moment. And I absolutely loved this book. It was a great, in my opinion, a great introduction to horror. And I now have put many more on my shelves or on my want to read list. And I want to read more from Nat Cassidy because I really do like the way that he tells his stories and the way he shows his characters. And yeah, this is definitely my out of my comfort zone read, but I am hoping to enter a place where horror can be part of my comfort zone because there's no reason why it couldn't be. I'm the type of person who wants to read everything. I want to give everything its fair shot, and this was door opening, eye opening, opening all the things. The next question is reflection or changes in my reading taste. So when I first came to BookTube and Bookstagram and all that, I had myself convinced that I was the romantasy girl. I liked fantasy romance, and that was it. And then I started reading whatever I wanted, and I let my brain go where my brain wanted to go. I did some mood reading, quickly discovered that I don't dislike those. I still love them. But I probably identify more in the contemporary romance genre than the fantasy romantasy world. I think I could flip-flop those on a month-to-month basis, but lately I have definitely been noticing that I am way more contemporary romance than I am romantasy, especially when I start yelling about Al Kennedy and that whole world. And the fact that that is the one series that you can really properly identify in my videos. But yeah, so that's like the big, it's not even a change in my reading taste. It's just kind of like, I'm learning that I like that more than I thought I did, as opposed to identifying in a different box. The next one is detox, or a book/habit I am leaving behind. So I'm not leaving any books behind. No book left behind except the ones in our unhaul pile. And those, we don't talk about those. But a habit I am leaving behind is hype avoidance. So I have, in the past, developed a very big problem where if someone talks about how amazing something is for any period of time and it keeps getting talked about and talked about and talked about, I will do anything and everything I can to avoid it. And that's stupid. And I know that it's stupid, but sometimes you can't tell the brain what to do. The brain will do what the brain wants. But I'm trying to be better about if people are excited about something and I am equally excited about it, I want to give it a try. I want to give it the attention that it deserves from me instead of writing it off just because people like it. The major example of this that I can go with is Fourth Wing. I've only read the first book, and I just read it in May. And it's the fact that it's been out for however long it's been out, but I would have it near the top of my list, and then someone would tell me I needed to read it, and I would move it to the bottom. And then it would work its way back up, and someone would tell me I needed to read it, and I moved it back to the bottom. And then when I finally was like, wait, I am genuinely interested in this, and I read it, I had a good time. I devoured it. I loved that world, those characters, and I could have been in it a lot sooner if I had just ignored my hatred for hype. So that is something that I would like to leave behind. If I'm excited about something, I'm not going to just turn it away because other people like it. Like, that's stupid. That's part of why we're doing this, is to share what we like with the world and get what we like from other people. So hype avoidance is stupid, and I'm mad at myself for doing it for so long. Next is positivity, which is anticipated books or events. So I'm going to go through the books first. The first ones are my special editions of the Off-Campus series. I am currently getting all 3 that have been announced, so that's The Deal, The Mistake, and The Score, and I'm so excited. I have never been a special edition girl. I haven't done book boxes. I have a couple owl crates from when I was trying to be into them, but I can't afford to continue. So I'm really excited that these are special editions that I have purchased, that I have picked out myself. Like, this isn't just a book box chose a book and sent it to me. This is, I sought these out, saw them, and was like, oh my god, those are for me. So I'm very excited about those. I am also excited about the new Elle Kennedy book that is coming out in the to be determined future. So, for those of you who don't know, Elle Kennedy has announced. Sorry, my Discord's blowing up. Elle Kennedy has announced that she is writing the next book in the Briar universe, and it is revolving around Blake Logan, who is the daughter of characters that I'm not going to say because I know a lot of my friends have not read the series at all or have only read the first book. But I'm so excited about seeing where that story goes, and it's huge. The other books I'm excited for include Soul Searching, which is the new Lila Sage book that comes out, I think, later this year. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's coming out at some point in 2025. I am also excited for a couple sequels that I've heard are coming out, or not heard, I know they're coming out. Brimstone, which is the follow-up to Quicksilver, comes out in November, and I'm excited to read that because that was another book that I fell in love with this year. I'm excited for the next installment in Wicked Games, which comes out in December. We don't know anything about it yet, but I loved both Phantasma and Enchantra this year, and it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see what she does next. And another one I'm excited for is The Things Gods Break, which is the follow-up to The Games Gods Play, which I read in June and loved. It was, based on a bracket that I did, the best book of my first half of the year. And I stand by that. I had a great time. I liked the angles the author took with mythology and kind of following the story, but also tweaking it so that it wasn't the same story we've heard on loop. But yeah, so I'm very excited to see where she continues to go with that world and those characters, because it ended in a very interesting place, and that cliffhanger has been killing me for the last month. We'll see how this splices in. I forgot something that I'm looking forward to. In September, I'm going to be going to the National Book Festival in Washington, D.C., which is a free book festival taking place in Washington, D.C. There's going to be a ton of authors there, and I'm very excited because not only is it my first book event, but I will be meeting up with some people that I've gotten very close to. There's one that I know for sure, and I will be meeting up with Lexi at some point in that weekend, but it looks like I could be meeting several more of my new friends. And I got so wrapped up in all the books that I was excited about that I forgot to even talk about that. So there's that, and we'll see. I'm wearing the same outfit, so you might not even have been able to tell it was spliced if I didn't come in here rambling about how terrible I was at that. But yeah, on to the next question. But moving on, our last question is to looking ahead, which is any personal plans or goals. My big goal is to continue doing this, the whole booktube thing, because when I do it, I like it, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. I feel like I'm getting more ideas, I'm getting more comfortable talking to a camera and not being worried about being heard by my neighbors. And I think I can get better and better with the quality of my videos as well, which I think is huge. Which leads into, I want to be more confident in booktube, because there are days where I'm like, I don't think this is me. I think that I'm screwing it all up. All those, angry brain goblin thoughts, and I'm trying to ignore those and be confident in what I'm putting out and know that people are watching this and they are engaging with my content, which is huge, because I thought I would get 10 views at most, and I've got a couple of videos that have soared, and I'm excited to see where I keep going. And my last goal is, of course, as always, keep reading. I don't want to slump. I mean, even if I slump, it's fine. But I don't want to get into a place where I'm going months and months without picking up a book. I want to keep reading. I want to keep exploring these worlds. I want to keep meeting characters and bonding with people over this shared world of books that we have gotten to together. And it's just, I'm having the best reading year that I have ever had. and I want to keep that going. I want to hit numbers that I thought were impossible in the past. And it's not about hitting the number or whatever. It's about reading stories that I care about, reading stories that I'm excited for. It's just, there's so much that we can do, and I'm excited to see where we continue going. But that is all. I think we're all a lot calmer than when we started. If you have made it this far and you don't feel like chatting but want to let me know you were here, you can leave a moth, butterfly, whatever emoji in the bottom. In the bottom? Nope. Down in the comments to represent the Crimson Moth duology, which was, the book that energized me. I hope you are having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.